Hi everyone, I'm Michelle Kadarusman and I'm delighted to be reading you the first chapter of my newest middle grade novel, Berani. And Berani is set in Indonesia and it's told in voices of three different characters. One character is Malia, who is a young activist, and the second character is Ari, who is a young man who lives in his uncle's restaurant, and in that restaurant is Ginger Juice, and she's very sadly she's kept in a cage. She's a captive orangutan, and so the third voice is of Ginger Juice herself. But chapter 1 is Malia, so I'm going to read you that. And Malia is, the first part of the chapter is Malia reading aloud the presentation that she intends to give in school, and she's reading her presentation to her mum. I take a deep breath and begin to speak. Listen, impossible things happen all the time. Strange, mysterious, and fantastic stuff unfolds right under our noses every day. Take, for example, miniature elephants. Fact. Fossil remains of prehistoric dwarf elephants called stegodons have been found on many islands here in Indonesia. These creatures were the size of a St. Bernard dog and even had tusks. I'm not kidding you. Scientists say this species lived at the same time as early humans. Can you imagine that? Having a mini elephant as your family pet? It only seems impossible because you never saw them. But what if I told you that right this very minute, a creature that shares nearly 97% of our human DNA, but is 7 times stronger, is living in the treetops, eating fruit and leaves, playing, crying, laughing, raising babies, and sleeping in giant nests hundreds of feet above the ground? That a tribe of copperhead forest people lives peacefully above us in the towering canopies of Sumatra and Borneo? And then what if I told you that we humans are destroying this creature's home and, along with it, some of the richest and most diverse rainforests on the planet? Just because we humans think that an oil used to make lipsticks, chocolates, and a million other throwaway items is more important. Impossible? No, it's happening as I tell you this. The product is called palm oil, and it's causing deforestation and the extinction of orangutans. And it's happening right here in our own country. I put down my presentation notes and meet Mum's gaze. Then I'll show the Greenpeace video and hand out my petition to protest the banning of palm-free product labels in our supermarkets, I tell her. How does it sound? What do you think? I ask. I still have more to write. I know it's too short. It's fantastic. I mean it, Malia, said my mum. It's really amazing. Mum's brow creases. But have you told your teacher what you will be presenting? Does she know that you'll be asking students to sign a petition? She said we could do a 10-minute presentation on a subject of our choice and that we could also include digital visuals. It's a complicated problem, sweetheart. In Indonesia especially, it's an explosive subject. Likely some children in your own school have families who rely on palm oil agriculture. There's a lot more to the issue. It's not black and white. It is to me, I say. I just worry the subject might cause some of the kids to be, well, conflicted. Mum gives me a half smile. They're only 13-year-olds after all. They're not the ones making the decisions. But that's exactly the point, I say, throwing up my hands. We should be properly informed on product labels so we can at least make informed decisions about what we buy. That's how we 7th graders can make a difference. Mum moves forward to cup my face in her hands. Yes, you can make a difference. Of course you can. And I'm very, very proud of you. But please do me this one favor. She locks eyes with me. Tell your teacher what you're planning to do before you go ahead with your presentation, okay? I don't want you getting yourself into trouble over it. True activists don't care about getting into trouble, I say. Mum shoots me a warning look. Okay, I promise. Thank you, she says, kissing my forehead, not noticing my fingers are crossed behind my back. Mum has been easier on me than usual ever since she told me about wanting to move us back to her home in Toronto, Canada. She thinks that I can be jollied along into a good mood just like when I was a little girl. Well, I'm not a little girl anymore, and I am not ever, ever, ever going to leave Surabaya. This is my home. This is where my best friend is, where my school is, and where I want to live forever. This is where Papa is buried, and when I go and sit by his grave under the mango trees and talk to him and tell him all about the petitions and letters I have saved for the orangutans. Just yesterday, I read a magazine article to Papa about the Swedish climate change activist Greta Thunberg and her Fridays for Future movement. Greta is a person who does what she sets out to do. She forced people to listen, even when she was younger than I am now. How can I save orangutans if I'm all the way over in Canada? Leave Indonesia? It's just not going to happen. I don't want to listen to what Mum says about how, with Papa gone, she wants to be with her own family back in Toronto. It's been 2 years since Papa died, Malia, she said. It's time for us to go home, back to Canada. Home? I said, but I'm already home. Indonesia's my home.